What is up, guys, and welcome back for another EVE Online video. This one's going to be kind of like obscure knowledge and kind of just things I've picked up over the years. The first thing we'll talk about is the clone bay, the usable clone bay in Jita 4.4. And we're not talking about one of the other stations. We're talking about the actual market. So if you're in Jita and you actually go here to your character sheet, go to jump clones, you'll see you can't install a clone. But look at that, I got one installed right there, and there's no other way to like get into like the clone window. None of that. I found this by accident actually. When I was living in Nullsec, I came back here to do some selling, and I wasn't really thinking. But when I was done, I just opened up my window here, like you normally would, and I just jumped back to Null, and it let me do it. And what it did in the process is it installed a clean clone in my in Jita where I was originating from. And then what you can do on top of that is when you're ready to go back to Jita to do like trade stuff or whatever, you can literally just like swap your clone to a clean clone in like nullsec and then jump over here. But normally what I do is I keep my all my characters, or at least my main, homed here in Jita. So really to come back here, I just kind of like, blow myself up. But I thought this was actually pretty interesting whenever I first learned about it. And the next thing we're going to talk about is actually copying contracts. This is useful if you are selling fitted ships and you don't actually want to have to go through and fill out all of the information over and over and over for fitted ships and things like that. So we're going to do this on the test server just so I can illustrate this pretty decently. So right now I'm just going to we have a bunch of heavy water here. I just got stacks of one. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to create contract. And what we want to do is we want to go through it once at least. Public, whatever, select one heavy water. We'll put 1,000 right here. And boom, a basic contract. Now you can go to any contract and just double click on it in the contract window and bring up this. If you go down here, you can actually go to copy contract. And as long as you have the item in your current item hold, you can just spam click all the way through it. And then we'll just kind of keep going. And do another one. And then we'll go over here just to show you. Go to contracts, and they're all right there. All the same. I thought this was pretty cool. This is actually moving snapped windows together. So snap means that two windows are essentially butted right up next to each other. So if I hold down shift and then just grab one of these windows, both of them will move. Pretty much anything that's actually attached to it will move. We'll go and open up another window here. We'll do logs and messages. Throw it over on the side. Hold on shift. Let's say all these windows are the same size in your interface. Holding down shift will actually adjust all of them if they were already the same size. So you can grab them there, you can grab them at the top. Doesn't really work on the side, but if you grab the middle window, then you can kind of bring them close together like that. But it's a little finicky, but that's a really good way to actually just kind of like move some of your interface windows around. I thought that was pretty neat. The other UI trick that you can do as well is if you just double click on any header for a window, it'll actually just collapse it, which is super nifty. Almost all windows, not ones like this mostly, but for like chat windows, you can close chats, open them up, and this will allow you to actually have a lot of stuff on screen and not necessarily close it completely out of the way. So if we have our logs here, we can just kind of double click. You can kind of line your whole thing up here with stuff and quickly kind of move stuff out of the way. It's a neat little way to kind of pack more information that's readily available to you without completely covering everything. All right, for this next little kind of nugget of information, this is probably more useful for ratting mostly than anything else. But if you're in space like this, if you hold down control and then click and drag, anything that essentially is in range or inside that box, you can target or select. So obviously we're on the anomaly, so there's a lot of stuff out of range here. But if you're like ratting or something, then you have a group of dudes over here. You want to target them all. You can literally just and grab them all. Now this one is super obscure, and I'm not even sure what you would actually use this for. But if you go into first person camera mode, you can actually use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move your ship. So we're hitting the up arrow, and it tilts we can actually go all the way around, turn all the way around, or you can hit right or left, and you can actually move left or right. Little jittery. Or you can hit down and kind of tilt down. I'm not really sure what this really... Let's just try to go to this rock right here. I'm not actually really sure what this is used for. It's super sensitive, very hard to control. You don't want to lay on the buttons too much. It's kind of like small little adjustments, but it's like... I mean, at one point were they trying to maybe get like HOTAS support? So I'm kind of just clicking very, very short clicks. But it's like, what would you use this for? But it's also just kind of fun sometimes just to kind of mess around with this. But definitely some weird, obscure thing to know. And finally, for our last little kind of piece of information, and this is kind of one of the more important ones, and what kind of motivated me to kind of throw this video together. But I've been seeing a lot of kill mails in and around JITA perimeter, or just like in high sec in general, in like people carrying around large kill injectors or expensive skins or Plex or I don't know, any of this stuff. And it just got me thinking that, wondering like how many people are unaware that you can remote activate things. So large skill injectors, small skill injectors, you can essentially, let's say you have like a JITA trading alt, and you're based in nullsec, and your guy in nullsec needs those skill points. You don't have to go to JITA to get them. What you can do is you can log into a trade alt that's sitting there to buy them, and then that trade alt can contract them to the character that needs the skill points. And then whenever you do a session change and on that character, you can go to their asset window. So you'd actually just go up here to their asset window, and you'll click on wherever you bought the large skill injector, and it'll be in there. And you can right click on it in the personal assets window, and you can activate that large skill injector remotely. You can do the same thing with ship skins. If you buy one of your alts, or if your main is sitting in JITA and you need your alt out in like low sec, or you don't want to travel back to JITA, let's say your alt needs like a skin, you can buy the skin on your main or whatever character is in JITA, contract it over to that character. Once that character accepts the contract and it shows up in the asset window, right click on it and activate it. The same thing, well, kind of the same thing with Plex as well. So you can actually, when you actually acquire Plex, most of the time from the New Eden store, it's going to go straight into your Plex wallet anyway. But say for some weird reason, somebody, I don't know, contracts you some Plex in JITA, you can accept that Plex in JITA, and it will automatically go into you can actually remote add it to your wallet there. So there's really no reason that I can think to be flying around with large skill injectors or skins, even if you're selling them on the market. Just increase the jump range that they're available to be bought, because anybody buying them for their characters, even at 40 jumps out, they're just going to remote, and they hopefully know to remote activate them. So if it's a situation where you're like, oh well, I bought some large skill injectors in JITA, I want to post them in perimeter, there's absolutely no reason to do that. You can buy them and you can post them to sell in JITA, just increase the sell range. They'll still show up in perimeter market, but there's no reason to put them in a ship, because if you're taking them to an alt, just contract them and just let them activate it through the asset window. But I just wanted to make this quick video going over some obscure knowledge, cover that so that everybody kind of is tracking. If you didn't know, yeah, that's kind of the main point of this video, is that skill injectors and skins for ships and stuff can all be accessed and activated remotely. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed some of these weird things in EVE Online. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.